The following is a paid program on CL 650. Now, CL 650 presents It's Your Money, an up-close and personal look at your finances. Here's your host, Fred Snyder.
Up in the morning and out to school.
Okay, we're back. Live, interactive. Going to repeat that, live and interactive. New time, new show. And again, every Saturday morning between 8 and 9, we have conversations with you, our listeners, about your money and how to keep it. And again, I want to emphasize, I want to embolden that word, keep it, because most of us earn a lot of money during our lifetimes, but we don't keep it because nobody ever taught us how to do that. When we went to school, they taught us how to earn money, but they didn't teach us how to keep it. There should be a class, there should be a subject about keeping money. That should be the topic of that particular subject. Not just reading, writing, and arithmetic. It should be reading, writing, arithmetic, financial planning with the emphasis on how to keep it. Again, at the risk of sounding boring, I'm going to repeat the statistics. 100 people started equal today at the age of 25. By the time they end up at 65, 1 is wealthy, 4 are well-to-do, 5 are still working, 36 are dead, and the remaining 54 are dead broke, dependent on family and state. Can you, listeners, identify with that? Is that you? Are you in that situation? Because if you are, you're suffering from a disease called broke. And the symptoms are, there's a lot of symptoms out there. For example, lack of knowledge, that's a symptom of being broke. Limited vision, which means no goals, that's a symptom of being broke. Entrenched habits, that's a symptom of being broke. The habit of spending more than you earn, the habit of not having a budget. Those are bad habits. Someone once said, form good habits and become their slave. That's the secret of success. But you need a plan to get there. Another symptom is not understanding the time value of money, not understanding how valuable time is, and you waste it. We all start out in life with the same amount of time, but we all don't succeed to the same extent. And the difference, what accounts for that, is the fact that some people spend their time wisely and others spend it foolishly. They waste it. Inflation. Not dealing with inflation. Unsuitable investments is another symptom. Not mitigating our taxes. Not paying more tax than we need to. Because somehow we feel some kind of loyalty to the government, that we have to finance the government of our country. And maybe to a certain extent we do. But we shouldn't pay more than our fair share. We should pay what we are legally required to do so. The unexpected. Sometimes in life we get surprises. We get sued out of the clear blue sky. We go home one day and our spouse has walked out. We get fired. We get laid off. We get downsized. We lose our main source of income, and we weren't expecting it to happen. These things happen. Someone once said it's not fair, and somebody else said life isn't fair, and indeed it isn't. Paying too much for the wrong kind of life insurance is another symptom. I see this every day. People come to see me. They have the wrong kind of life insurance. Maybe they don't even need life insurance, but they're loaded up with an insurance policy, and they think this is some kind of a savings plan. And I say, why did you buy it? Well, I bought it as a savings plan. Well, life insurance is not a particularly good savings plan. It's a protection plan. I don't have any dependents, so then why do you have life insurance? That doesn't mean if you don't have any dependents, you shouldn't necessarily. But you need to be able to define why you have life insurance. Why do you have it in the first place? Because it can be pretty expensive. A lady in my office last week, she's got a 10-year renewable policy costing her $100 a month. It's coming up for renewal in 3 months. It's going to go up to $400 a month for the next 10 years. A 400% increase in the premium 3 months from now. And she can't afford it. And I said, why do you have it in the first place? And she said, I don't know. I don't even know why I bought it. I mean, are you getting the message? Okay, the message is clear. You need to do some financial planning. You need to get a financial plan. So that's another symptom of broke. Not preparing for the unexpected, paying too much for the wrong kind of life insurance. Number 10 is just straight lack of a plan. I don't have a plan at all. So you're listening to the show right now, ask yourself, do I have a financial plan? That's only question one. Number 2, do I know what it is? What is a financial plan? What's it look like? Well, I got a bunch of stocks. I think I got a financial plan. A bunch of stocks is not a financial plan. I have some life insurance. That's not a financial plan. Those, ladies and gentlemen, are financial products. I have some mutual funds. That's not a financial plan. They're products. Having products without a financial plan is having naked products. You need to dress your products up with an overall financial plan. You need that. So is that you? Can you identify with that? Keeping your plan up to date. How often do you update your plan? Once a year? Do you have a financial plan? When's the last time you really updated that plan with your financial advisor? Should be done at least once a year. So if you have a written financial plan, you need to modify it from time to time. You can't have a financial plan, stick it up on the shelf, let it gather dust and say, that's going to make me rich. It doesn't work that way, okay? Putting it off, procrastination. I'm going to get a plan tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, well, I'm going to get it next week. Then next week, I'm going to get it next month. Before long, years have slipped away, and you've lost the time value of money. Don't wait. Make a New Year's resolution right now. We're into a new year right now. Make a New Year's resolution that I'm going to get myself a financial plan. And guess what? If you come and see me for one, it's complimentary. It won't cost you 5 cents. Okay? And whether you implement it now, later, or never isn't the important issue. The important issue is that you get one so you can decide when and if you want to put it into effect. And last but not least is doing it yourself. I don't need a financial advisor. I'm going to do it myself. Well, maybe you can do it yourself, but your chances of success when you do it yourself aren't huge. So don't try to do it yourself. Now, if you call the show, we'll provide you with a book, How to Get Yourself a Financial Planner and a Financial Plan. No cost, no obligation. Make a phone call. As well, second opinion on your investment portfolio in writing, prepared by a CFA, highly qualified technician, an MRI or a CAT scan, if you want to call it that, or an X-ray of your existing situation, analyzing your portfolio. And I have a sample one that I will go over on this show this morning. So again, if you just tuned in, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner. And again, we'd like to have conversations with you, our listeners. I represent Scotia McLeod. I dedicate myself to teaching people what they need to know to make better financial decisions. So again, the number to call, if you're out there and you're listening to the show, the number to call is area code 604-280-0650. If you're calling long distance, it's 877-280-0650. You want to log on, you want to see what we look like, it's a webcast, www.cil.650.com. And for those who are shy, some people are reluctant to talk on the air, Frida's down at the office. You can reach her right now at area code 604-737-3512. If you're calling long distance, it's 800-661-1495. So again, for those in Nanaimo, we're going to be over there, I believe it's the week after next. Frida, if you want to just give us a call, let us know when we're scheduled to be over there at the Coast Bastion. I have a few people over there that have called me that want to see me the next time I'm over there. So once again, the numbers to call is area code 604-280-0650. Long distance 877-280-0650. Log on, webcam, www.cil.650.com. Frida down at the office, area code 604-737-3512. Long distance 800-661-1495. Talk to us. Talk to me about your money. Maybe you have a lot of questions that need answers. Be happy to provide them. So get on the line and give us a call. And I want to emphasize one thing. We like to focus on high net worth clients, people that have a lot of money, because sometimes the people with a lot of money are the ones with the biggest problems. They have bigger tax problems than most people. They don't know how to evaluate their portfolios, whether their portfolios are safe or not safe or too risky or don't have the proper expected rate of return on them and all that and much, much more. Let's talk to Annie from Vancouver. Annie, welcome to the program.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
Thanks, Annie, for
Fred.
calling. I appreciate it.
Good morning, Fred, and Happy New Year.
And the same to you.
Yes. Fred, I have a question regarding property gain tax.
Property estate tax?
Property gain tax.
There's a word in there that I'm not getting. It was static. Did you say property date?
Yeah. Well, can I explain?
Sure. That's good. That'll work.
Right. I have lived in my present home for the past years, about 8 years, and this home is always my principal residence, and had never been rented out before. And I plan to move to a new home, which will be my principal residence in future. Let's say maybe February or March, for example. And suppose that I'm able to sell. I'm only able to sell my present home maybe in September 2005. The question is, do I have to pay capital gain tax when my old principal residence, which I'm staying now, is sold in September?
If you do it right, you don't have to.
No, I don't have to.
The bottom line is that when you move out of the existing house and move into a new house and deem it to be your principal residence, the former house becomes what they call change of use. It's now rental property, and there's a adjusted cost base attached to that, which is the present value. You need to establish that with proper documentation, and the only tax that you would ever have to pay on the first house, the house you're living in now, would be if it appreciated in value between now and the time you sold it. But there's no tax at the point that you leave your current house into the new house.
I see.
But you could pay, if the old house continues to appreciate in value, you could have some capital gains tax down the road.
Right. But CRA in Canada stated that one person cannot hold two principal residents.
That's
in
correct.
A year.
Yeah, but that's why it's change of use. Once you move out of the first house, it becomes not your principal residence anymore.
So that is called what, Fred? Can you repeat? Change of?
Called change of use.
How do you spell it?
U-S-E. Use.
U?
U-S-E.
U-S-E. Or change of use.
Yeah.
All right. So do I have to...
Anyway, technically, you'd have to really try to create a tax problem with this one. The chances are you won't have much of a tax problem, if any, at all.
Okay. So that let's say if I hold these two principal residents,
you can't have two principal residences. Remember that. The change of use now makes your first house, I don't know what you call it, rental property. If you're going to rent it out, it's now rental property. Okay, so it's changed from your principal residence to rental property.
I'm not going to change it to a rental property. I'm going to sell the old principal residence.
Well, then you wouldn't be holding it for a long time, and the chance of much appreciation is pretty slim.
I hope I wouldn't be able to hold it for a long time, and can sell it within a couple of months. So.
Not very likely. There's going to be a tax problem there.
No tax to pay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And do I have to report to CRA that the change of use of my two residents when
I'm not an accountant. I don't know the answer to that question, but it's probably yes. But it's just not a problem. You just got to tell them. It would be wise to document it. That's all.
All right then.
So you don't get into a future dispute.
Okay. Thank you, Fred. That answered my question.
I hope that answers your question. And again, you get yourself a nice little book, How to Find Yourself a Financial Advisor and How to Get Yourself a Financial Plan, because you made a phone call.
Okay.
Okay, really appreciate your call.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, so that line is now open. So if you're out there, you just tuned in. I'm Certified Financial Planner Fred Snyder, also a Registered Financial Planner representing Scotia McLeod. Again, this is a live show. And I emphasize the word live because yesterday we play actually tomorrow we play a replay. So on Sunday there's a replay, but this one is live. So again, you have questions, comments, feedback, anything that you want to talk about, get on the line and give us a call. We'll be in Nanaimo on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd at the Coast Bastion Hotel. So if you want to see myself and you're over on the island, anywhere between Victoria and Campbell River or whatever, call free to make an appointment. Be happy to meet you over there. And I know that I have a couple of clients that have called me already from a former show that want an appointment. So again, you want to line up that appointment, just give Frida a call. She's at the office right now, and you can reach Frida 604-737-3512. If you're over on the island, it's 800-661-1495. So once again, I remind you, we're talking about your money, more importantly about your money and how to keep it. And keep it is the key phrase that's in that situation. And the way you're going to keep it, ladies and gentlemen and listeners out there, is to get yourself a written financial plan and have a review process attached to that. And you'll need a financial advisor to help you do that. So everybody desiring future financial success needs a financial plan, needs a financial planner, and needs a review process. Set that up, and you won't be disappointed. So ask yourself this question: how long have I worked? How much money have I made, and how much of that do I have left today? And the most important question of all is, am I happy with the answers? And if you're not happy with the answers, you didn't do it right. Okay? Because everybody can become financially independent if they keep a part of everything they earn, if they run a budget so that they don't spend everything they earn, so that they're not broke on payday. They run a budget, there's something left over, they pay themselves first, they let the money build up in the bank until they get about 6 months of living expenses in their bank account, and then they take the difference and they invest it in something that's going to get them a decent rate of return after taxes and inflation. So don't take your net return. For example, if you could get 2% on your money today, you're going to pay tax on the 2%, and that means you lose about half of 2%. So let's say you're left with 1. If inflation is 3, your real return is -2. Now you tell me how you can become financially independent on -2%. You need to accumulate some money. You do that by not spending everything you earn. You let it build up to a point, and then you take the surplus and you invest it in something that's going to get you a real rate of return after taxes and after inflation. It's just as simple as that, no more complicated than that. And at the same time, get yourself a financial plan which becomes a blueprint which will take you from where you are right now to where you want to go. Your financial objectives, your hopes, your plans, your dreams, and your ambitions are well defined. They're well laid out. They're translated into concrete objectives, very firm concrete objectives. Your assets and liabilities are well defined, the difference between the two being net worth. Your income and expenses are well defined. The difference between the two is called cash flow or disposable income. These are all things that people need to deal with. It seems complicated, and to one degree or another it is, but once you get yourself a financial coach, a financial advisor, and a financial plan to help you with that, you'll do better. And we owe it to ourselves to do better. I see about 4 people every day, sometimes more. So I see these profiles of people, and everybody has the same thing in common. They don't pay themselves first. They don't have a financial plan. They don't know how well their investments are doing. They tell me that their tolerance for risk is low, yet they carry high-risk investments, and they don't even know it. The rate of return they're getting falls short of what they need to achieve their objectives, and they don't even know it. And it's not always that way, but almost all the time it is. And it's disgraceful. We need to teach people, and I say this to the educational system at large. If you're out there right now, you're listening to this show, educators, you have not done a good job. I say that with a great deal of emotion and feelings. Educators, you have not done a good job. Department of Education should be putting financial planning on the agenda. It should be part of the curriculum in every school and university. Why should I go to school for 7 or 8 or 9 years to become a doctor? I make a fortune, but I don't know how to keep it. I spend it all because I don't have a plan. Does that make a lot of sense? Not to me, it doesn't. Let's talk to Gloria from Vancouver. Gloria, welcome to the program. Hi, Gloria.
Nope, this is Maria.
Oh, hi, Maria. How are you?
I'm really good.
Okay.
And my heartbeat has changed because what I'm going to say takes a lot of guts to say on the air.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to make it very simple to get to the point.
Mm-hmm.
At 27, I bought my first brand new home.
Yes?
And 2 years ago, I sold it for $1 million.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Oh, no. You have to wait for the end.
Oh, okay.
Lots of things happened. I got married. I had children. I got divorced. And I was alone for 18 years. And I actually got remarried last summer. I didn't do any of the things that you preach. I never had a financial plan. I didn't invest properly. Bottom line, yesterday, I've always had money. I started working when I was 15. I knew how to save. At age 34, my house was 100% paid. In 1988, I was able to quit working for the Royal Bank because I was so smart and did the right things. Yesterday, I am not ashamed to say, I had to go to the food bank.
Oh, my God.
You know why I'm phoning?
Why?
Because people learn from people's mistakes. Mm-hmm. And if we don't tell people we make a mistake, we just let other people make it over and over again. I'm listening to your program every week, and I'm saying to myself, slap yourself as many times as you want. It's not going to change anything. And to make it worse, that guy that I married, after 2 months he's having an affair. Right now he's in Mexico, so I have to wait for November to start divorce.
Oh, my God.
You know what? Not only did I go to the food bank, but I decided I am not going to take food without working for it. So I have volunteered. I'm in the process of working for the food bank. What I'm trying to say to people is wake up, smell the coffee. If you think it's not going to happen to you, if you don't do your homework, guess what? It does happen. I am an example, and it takes a lot of nerve to do what I'm doing right now, letting the world know. And I know I'm safe because my 2 children will never be listening to this program at this time.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know something, Maria? I'm proud of you.
You know what? It takes guts to still stand up and face the world.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Because easy come, easy go, and all those people that win the lotto, guess what? It is true. When you have money, everybody's your friend. Everybody's kind to you. When the money's gone, so is everything.
Well, that's absolutely right.
So I'm calling in, and I hope a lot of people hear this. I'm calling in to say it doesn't have to be Fred Schneider. Just let it be somebody, because it will happen if you don't do your homework.
Yeah, you need to find yourself a competent, honest financial advisor. That's what everybody needs.
Right.
That's the bottom line. And sometimes things don't work out the way you expect, but that doesn't mean that you throw the towel in, and you haven't done that. I think that's the key. The key is to hang in there. It's not, it's about how fast you get up when you get knocked down.
That's right.
That's the bottom line. That's, I teach success as well as money, and I think success involves more than just money. It involves health and wealth. It involves social life. It involves family life. It involves everything, your spiritual life. You have to set goals in all of those areas. Napoleon Hill once said that anything that you can vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass. And so you start over. You just bounce back. You start over. I think you're doing the right thing.
And like I said, I'm calling in not to promote you, but to encourage people to listen to you. Yeah.
Well, I can't buy that. No money can pay for that kind of advertising. That was a perfect story. Not maybe good for you at this point, but really it's what you're made out of that counts. It's not what you have. You know, someone once said that having is the result of being. Well, you are. Having comes along with that. It'll come back to you.
Well, the one thing I'm proud of, I gave. I did not take. So at this moment of need, I had to go to the food bank. But like the lady said at the food bank, if you have given it away, God knows about it.
That's right.
So you have a great show and continue the good work. Too late for me, but you know what? Why not help somebody else not make that mistake?
Maria, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your call.
Anytime.
You enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, bye
Same
for now.
to you. Bye-bye.
Okay, wow, what a story. In all my career, I don't think I've ever heard a story quite like that one. I've seen them, but never have anybody ever stand up and put it that way. That was very well said and does take a lot of courage. A lot of people are afraid to come and see myself because they don't want to hear the bad news. And sometimes it's not even bad news. They don't want to know how poorly they're doing. They don't want to recognize it. They want to deny it. They're in a state of denial and fear. Okay? Everybody needs a financial plan. I can't tell you how much I appreciated that call. And I didn't pay her to do it. Let's talk to Louise from Surrey. Louise, welcome to the program. Hi, Louise.
Hello.
Are you there, Louise?
Hello.
Hi, Louise.
That lady took my story, except my story's worse.
Oh, God.
I helped over 100 people, and now he died, and I'm not getting anything. That's all I want. I don't get to go in there and preach like she did. Take care. Bye.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, okay, Louise's line is now as well open, so if you're out there, you're listening to the show, maybe it's time to make a phone call. Maybe it's time to not procrastinate anymore. Maybe it's time to say, it's time I made that call. It's time I made an appointment to get myself a certified written financial plan, a blueprint that's going to define where I'm at right now, that's going to define my goals and aspirations, and is going to define how I get there. How I build the bridge that takes me from where I am right now to where I want to go. How am I going to build that bridge? Ladies and gentlemen and listeners, that's a plan. You don't have one, it's time to get one. Imagine trying to build a business without a plan, a house without a plan. Build anything without a plan. I'll bet you when the Egyptians built the pyramids, they had a plan. And that was a long time ago, okay? You need to have a plan. How many times do I have to say it? Okay, a plan, there's 3 P's. Plan, planning, and product. So to become financially successful, you need a plan, you need planning, which is the process of making the plan work, and last but not least, you need the right products inside the financial plan. 95% of the time when people come to me, the financial products they have and they own in their portfolios are the wrong financial products. They're not the best financial products that are out there. There's 22,000 investment funds to pick from. Most of them aren't great. Some of them are fabulous. So you want the fabulous funds inside your plan, not the ones that aren't great. Okay? And how do you tell? You ought to be able to put your investment portfolio on the table in front of you and put your finger on it anywhere and say, here's a fund. This is why I own that fund. I own that fund because the risk is low, which is measured by standard deviation. It's a low number. I own that fund because it's a low beta, which means it's low risk. I own that fund because it's got a high alpha. Okay? These are all measurements. These are ways that you measure a fund. And Peter Drucker once said, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So what is the yardstick that you use to measure your investment portfolio? How do you determine whether you have the best investment funds inside your portfolio? Someone once said an ideal portfolio has no more than 31 securities inside it. I looked at portfolios last week, some of them which had over 100. They're over-diversified, as an example. Systematic risk is high. Unsystematic risk is high. I'm sorry I'm getting into the technical terms. I try to avoid them. Nobody really knows what they mean anyway. But the bottom line is, how much did I invest? How much is it worth today? Should it be more than what it is or less? I mean, am I doing well? That's what people want to know. And you should be able to check on your portfolio at least once a year and be able to say, I'm doing well. And if you're not, this is what I'm doing to fix it. That's what it's all about. So once again, if you just tuned in, we just covered about 31 minutes of this show. We're getting into the new year, and I remind you once again, this is a live show. Okay? And it will be live every Saturday morning between 8 and 9, which means I have to get up early. I get up about 7 o'clock now, every Saturday morning. I still am half asleep. Okay? So it takes me a bit of time to get going, a couple of cups of coffee and all that. It's a long drive out here from North Vancouver. But the bottom line is I do that, and I do that every Saturday now, from now on going forward, between 7 and 9, talking to you, our listeners, about your money, more importantly about your money and how to keep it. We try to educate you. We try to increase your financial IQ, to teach you what you need to know to make better financial decisions. So make a resolution right now that in the new year, you're going to learn more about money. So maybe a good question that you could ask me is, how can I learn more about money? I preach this all the time. I get very few callers call me and say, well, how can I learn more? I want to learn more. Tell me how to learn more. Where can I get some more financial education? Okay, that would be a good question. How can I get myself a financial plan? That would be a good question. Should it cost me anything? That would be a good question. How do I find a financial advisor that I can trust and that is competent? That would be a good question. You need answers. You need solutions to problems. And the only way you're going to get that is to become more proactive, not reactive, with how you deal with your money. Have to go to the break. We'll go to the break, and when we come back, we'll take more of your calls. Don't go away.
Fred Snyder.
I want people to call the show that are genuinely interested in increasing their financial IQ so that they can become financially independent sooner and stay financially independent longer.
Fred Snyder.
You don't have a blueprint. Imagine trying to build a house without a blueprint. And how about having a blueprint for your life? What are your lifestyle goals? You need to think about your family life. What are your goals about your family life? What are your lifestyle goals when it comes to health? What are your lifestyle goals when it comes to finances, mental and spiritual? You have to set goals in all those areas, not just finances.
Fred Snyder.
Often we fail because we put too much emphasis on one area and ignore everything else. We work our butts off and we ruin our health. So life is all about balance. So you need a life plan.
Fred Snyder.
Napoleon Hill says this, wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. Anything that you can vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass.
Fred Snyder.
My goal, my mission is to help people enhance their financial IQs by teaching them what they need to know to make better financial decisions.
Fred Snyder at his new time, Saturday mornings at 8 on Smooth and Easy, CIL 650.
This is CISL Vancouver, Smooth and Easy. CIL 650. Welcome back to It's Your Money on CIL 650. If you have a question for Fred, call 604-280-0650. Now, back to Fred.
Gosh, I like that smooth and easy stuff. It sounds like something to drink. Anyway, we're back. Again, I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about your money, more importantly about your money and how to keep it. And again, we've covered a lot of ground here this morning, but that one call that we had was very, very powerful. That poor lady that did everything right, and then at the end of the day, fell off the cliff. And that can happen. That's called not preparing for the unexpected. That's one of the obstacles that we defined. One of the 13 major obstacles are the symptoms of financial failure. And again, I said it earlier that if you take 100 people who started equal today at the age of 25, by the time they end up at 65, 1 is wealthy, 4 are well-to-do, 5 are still working, 36 are dead, and the remaining 54 are dead, broke, dependent on family and state. If I carry those statistics further to age 70, half the people, half the 5 at the top that were financially successful by age 65, half of those are financially dependent again because they didn't deal with taxes and inflation, or they didn't deal with the unexpected. So the statistics are miserable. They're disappointing. They're scary. And it really means that we have to make a supreme effort. We just can't drift. We can't be reactive in terms of how we deal with our money. We can't sit back in our easy chair and say, well, somehow or another it's going to fix itself. I'm not financially independent today. I'm not doing so well, but somehow or another, it's by magic, it's going to be okay. It isn't going to be okay. You have to become proactive. You have to make deliberate and certain steps to fix these financial problems. So again, 13 reasons why we fail financially. I've articulated each of them, and they're all important. But I still think the major reason why people fail financially is lack of education and lack of a plan. They have a plan, they don't have the education to go along with it, or they have the education but they don't get the plan. You need a financial blueprint which defines your goals, your hopes, your plans, your dreams, and your ambitions, which takes a snapshot of where you are right now financially, which looks at your income, your expenses, your assets, and your liabilities. It forms a budget for you so that you make sure that you have a positive cash flow. It takes a look at your insurance needs so that the unexpected is covered and you know exactly that you have the right kind of life insurance or other insurances to protect you if need be. And then you have your goals, and you have your income, your expenses, your assets, and your liabilities at some time in the future, be it 5 years from now when you retire or 10 or 15, whatever it is. You need to have a plan which crunches those numbers and lays those numbers out. And most of the time, people don't have that plan. And I don't understand why. So what are some of the ways that you can get more financial education? You ever heard of Google? Try Google. You got a computer. Most people have an iPad or a computer. I have the iPhone 6, which is here. I can do almost anything on that I can do with an iPad. You got financial formulas and all kinds of things on there where you can do the calculations. You can virtually do a financial plan using Google. Maybe I should do a workshop sometime. I should do a workshop and say, this is how you can create a financial plan using Google. Because I can show you how to do that. It's not that hard. Okay, you can make your own financial plan. Let's talk to Stu from White Rock. Stu, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Fred.
Hi, Stu.
What an interesting show today, and I'm just fascinated with the difference in financial positions from the two callers you had. The one caller earlier who had multiple properties, and then the woman who had done all the things right, and still has the chance to bounce back. But and also your point on that even people that are high net worth still need to stay focused with their plan.
Without a doubt, Stu. Without any doubt at all. You know, like if I had $1 million in the bank, let's say I got $1 million in the bank, I might figure I'm pretty well off. But let's say I have a lifestyle which consumes $5,000 a month and my income is only $3,000 a month. So I have a deficit of $2,000 every month, $24,000 a year. How does that get paid? Comes out of the million. So the million is shrinking by $24,000 a month.
And when you think of it, Fred, the market is always moving, and in some cases, many have made their wealth in a market that maybe it was easier to do, and everyone has to stay. It's their responsibility if they built a strong high net worth to stay focused on it. It's their legacy.
Without any doubt. You know, and the one lady that called earlier about the two houses, she has her principal residence right now, and it might not be a bad idea to review that situation again, because lots of people are in this position. They're at or near retirement. They want to downside. They got a very expensive house. They want to sell it, and they want to buy something cheaper, and they're afraid they're going to have to pay tax. Well, on the gain on your principal residence, you don't pay tax on the gain when you sell it. Okay, period.
Yeah.
So understand that, and that's an absolute. So maybe a good financial plan, if you had enough money to be able to service a big mortgage, would be to get yourself a waterfront property with a $2 million mortgage on it, and it'll appreciate in value big time, and make sure you can make the payments on the mortgage. So that's,
Yeah.
And so you're going to get a lot of capital appreciation, but you got far more house than you need. But the plan is that when you sell it, you're going to make a huge tax-free capital gain, and then you're going to buy something that's only worth maybe $500,000 as an example. Okay? So the new place, if you sell the old place before you move into the new place, you got no tax. If you move into the new place and you still own the old place and you deem the new place to be your principal residence, and in this circumstance you really wouldn't do that. I don't want to go there though; it's too complicated. But on the new place, you're only going to pay maybe a little bit of tax if there's appreciation on the old place while you're waiting to sell it, and that's not likely if it's short term. So you really don't have a tax problem by so doing. So the best investment that people can make, in my view, is their principal residence, because it grows tax-free. It's like a tax-free savings account. If you buy a tax-free savings account, no matter what the rate of return on it is, it grows tax-free. You never pay any tax. The only way you'd pay tax on a tax-free savings account is if you withdraw money and you put it back the same year. That's deemed to be an overcontribution and there's a penalty there. Or if you contribute more than you're allowed. But today, if any listener, this is anybody that's out there, if you don't have a TFSA and you've never had one, you can each invest, you and your spouse both, $36,500 in a TFSA, and any earnings on that is absolutely 100% tax-free.
Safe to say that the tax-free savings account, it's a no-brainer to not be filling it out.
It's almost a no-brainer. That's right. There isn't any reason I can think of why you shouldn't have one.
But people just don't do it. What I love from that caller earlier is that the woman had a plan. She was thinking about the logistics of what to do, and I think that's again going back to high net worth people. They can't become complacent, especially in today's marketplace.
Well, I got a ticket on the $50 million lottery, so if I win the $50 million lottery, I have some financial problems. Many people would think if I won the $50 million lottery, I wouldn't have it. My financial problems are over. You got a whole new set of problems when you got $50 million. They're different. They're not the same as being broke and the problems you have because you're broke. But $50 million has its own set of problems. How do you make sure the $50 million is properly invested? How do you make sure that you're getting the maximum amount of income you can get from that $50 million? How do you mitigate the taxes on the income from the $50 million? How do you make sure it passes to your beneficiaries? There's a whole new set of problems.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier about getting answers, about getting educated, and people are for whatever reason afraid to ask the questions. Do I have the right advisor? When was the last time I saw this individual?
Well, explain to me, Stu, why we are not overwhelmed with calls. Because as far as I'm concerned, I really believe, and I mean this firmly, I really believe that the number one responsibility, I'll use that word because it's a strong word, the number one responsibility that people have in this lifetime is not just to earn money, it's to keep some of it. It's a responsibility. And we don't do a very good job of that. Now, we go to school. Why do we go to school? What's the objective of going to school?
To learn.
To learn what?
To learn about life, but we don't teach that.
When we go to school, I like to say we learn how to earn. We learn how to earn money, generally, because if we go to school and we get a good education, they brag about it all the time. With the college education, you're going to make more money than if you don't, and so on and so forth. So we go to school, we learn to be a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, or whatever professional field we go into, or we graduate from high school and we get a good job. But it's all about a job and how much money we earn, period. And that's what they teach us. I remember when I went to school, they didn't teach us anything about money. You may be able to take sideline courses right now, a little bit about money, but they really don't cover the basis. The number one subject today in school should be how to keep the money we earn, or at least how to keep some of it. Okay? How to manage our money should be a subject in school. It should be a primary subject. Reading, writing, arithmetic, and managing money.
I agree with you, Fred. That's certainly for the next generation.
Yeah.
But there's baby boomers out there.
I know there's some people that aren't going to get there.
Yeah. And they're not educated, or they're being complacent, and there is a legacy involved here. They may have had money passed down to them, and they want to make sure that that earns well in the future. And it doesn't take that much effort, but you have to focus on it.
Like, for example, how do you calculate the expected rate of return on a portfolio?
Good question.
You need to know that. How do you calculate what they call the CAPM, expected rate of return on a portfolio?
Yeah.
That's the capital asset pricing model. These are all terms from the Canadian Securities course and the Wealth Management Essentials course. These are all courses that I've had to take. Okay? But the bottom line is very few people have the foggiest idea what those terms even mean.
Right. So that's scaring them.
Oh, sure. And the bottom line is, if you have a portfolio, you ought to be able to sit down with your financial advisor and say to your financial advisor, what's the expected rate of return on my portfolio? And the financial advisor said, duh. Okay? Because if you don't know what the expected, let's say the expected rate of return is 4%. But let's say the calculations say you need 6 to achieve your financial objectives. You are guaranteed to miss those financial objectives. Guaranteed to. I shouldn't say guaranteed, it's too strong. You might. Okay? Because the expected rate of return is not the guaranteed rate of return either. But you haven't got a hope. If the expected rate of return says 4 and you need 6, the chances of you achieving your objectives aren't great.
And it all comes to reality when you run numbers and say, you know what, you're going to run out of money.
Yeah. Is your money going to die before you do?
Exactly.
Okay. If your money lives longer than you, then you leave lots of money to your kids, and that's okay. But if your money dies before you do, now you're dependent on family and state.
Well, it's nothing more than a financial checkup that someone like you could provide. I'm going to leave the phone lines open here, but enjoyed our chat, Fred.
Do appreciate your call.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the rest of the weekend. Take care. Okay, Stu's line is now open, so if you're out there, you just joined us. I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod. We're giving away a great book, How to Find Yourself a Financial Advisor, How to Get Yourself a Financial Plan. And again, everybody who calls the show gets that book. You get a second opinion on your investment portfolio. And a complimentary. I emphasize the fact it's complimentary. There's no cost to see me. So if you want an appointment to see myself, you give Frida a call, and you can reach Frida right now. She's down at the office, and you can get her at 604-737-3512. If you're calling long distance, you're over on the island, it's 800-661-1495. Remind you once again that we're going to be over there the week after next, and again at the Coast Bastion Hotel Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, actually. I have Tracy on the line from Vancouver. So, Tracy, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Fred. How are you?
Oh, Tracy, I'm just fine. As Shell Buzzy said, top drawer.
Yeah. I wanted to wish you, your family, and the staff a very happy new year. Hope you guys all had a great holiday season.
Tracy, I always have great holidays.
Good, good. Listen, I wanted to say, and I know you've pushed with me many times in a personal way for my buying my own piece of property.
Well, let's talk about that because there's a good story there, I think.
Okay, and I wanted to say that over the years, what you went through in 1981 when the interest rates went up to 18% or something,
yep.
And I didn't own a house then. I've always been a renter. I have watched friends of mine lose condos due to the leaky condo syndrome that we had in the 90s, and it may be still going on. Second and third mortgages on condos in certain parts of the lower mainland, and it scared me, and I just said, no, I'm going to rent. I'm quite happy to rent. But also, I don't want to be spending my time or my vacation fixing things like I don't want to be doing gardening if I don't want to. I don't want to be shoveling snow. I don't want to be doing those things. So I think, it's one thing.
Well, Tracy, your story is all about financial objectives. Your primary financial objective is you've been a client of mine for at least 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And your primary financial objective is travel.
Exactly, and
that's exactly what you're doing, and you do a lot of it. So how much traveling have you done in the last few years?
Oh, heavens. Well, I keep taking short little cruises and stuff, but I've done some driving trips over the years. I've done, we've gone around South America. We've gone into the Antarctic. We've gone to Mediterranean. There's other plans to do other things. But
and rather than own a house, you'd rather do that?
Well, I'll be quite honest with you, couldn't do that if I owned a house, so that's another thing. And one of the things I think that cruising, to me, is a great way to see the world. Mm-hmm. It's a cheap way. It costs about $100 a day, and that includes food and shows and a place to stay, and you get to travel and move along. And it's a nice way to see the world. You had one vacation that you were 4 months on. Yes, exactly. 4.5 months around South America and then on to the Mediterranean. But there are other people. My sister has a small hobby farm. She has no interest in traveling, but her whole life goes to her horses and her animals, and that's where she wants to spend her retirement years, is with her animals, and that's fine too. So I think a lot of it isn't. You have to start out with, what do you as a person want to do with your life? Where do you want to go? And not just about how much money can I accumulate, because if you don't have any plans, it's very, very hard to focus on accumulating money. Tracy, how would you rate your financial knowledge, low, moderate, or high? I'm going to say right now I'm probably in moderate. I've gone to a lot of your classes, but I also have the printout for the Canadian Securities course because my significant other took it and passed the course, believe it or not. And so I've got his copy of his course, and it was a number of years ago, but it gives me some basic information. Mm-hmm. Mm. So that's good knowledge. That's a good place to get some knowledge, is the Canadian Securities course. So right. There's nothing to stop anybody who's listening to the show right now from taking the Canadian Securities course if they wanted to. Exactly. You can do it online. You can, right. You might decide to become a financial advisor after taking it, but you don't have to. Yeah. That's a source of information. But there's Google. I've looked up lots of information on using Google. I've doing things. I don't have a subscription to the Morningstar Pal Track that you have. But you can get Pal Track on Google. Yeah. Not the same as the one I use, but it's a derivative of the same thing. Right. But I just wanted to say to your listeners that I just wanted to say, poor Maria, I think was her name, and Maria, her episode, I was actually sitting here with tears rolling down my cheek when she because I felt like, here's a woman who has gone through everything that she should have done, but she neglected to think about the what ifs that you often talk about. I use that term a lot, what if. Yeah. And that's not the same as not preparing for the unexpected. Yeah. Something happened in her life that was unexpected. She didn't see it coming, and it wiped her out. Okay, and she's got the courage to talk about it, and she's got the courage to share that with others. I was impressed. So was I. I was really impressed. Very much so. Yeah. And there's lots of people out there like that. So if that's your circumstances, maybe it's time to do something about it. It's not getting knocked down that you worry about. It's whether you get back up again or not. Yeah, and I think it's important. And I think that she seems to me to be a person who's got the courage to move along. I would love to meet her. She sounds like an interesting person. I would say so. Yeah, yeah.
I've never had a call quite like that one I've been doing radio shows for 20 years. Never had a call like that.
Yeah, yeah. And give her a good pat on the back. I hope she comes in for some financial assistance from...
She's welcome to do so. Be happy to help her anytime.
Yeah, yeah. And if she wants a friend, would you give her my number, please?
You can give your number out right now if you want, Tracy.
Oh, okay. So if Marie is out there listening, I live in Vancouver, and my number is 604-322-7120. I'd love to chat with you. Okay, thanks a lot,
Tracy,
Fred.
can't tell you how much I appreciate your call. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, wishing everybody down there a great 2015.
Okay, you take care, and the same to you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Tracy. Okay, so Tracy's line is now open, and boy, this has been a great show. Different kind of feedback, but different feedback, really. And good stuff, because it's the other side of the coin. And again, I want to remind you, if you're high net worth, you have problems as well as those who have no net worth. Different kind of problems, but really everybody's got some kind of a financial problem. The rich and the poor and those in between have some kind of financial issues and problems, and my job is to help you solve those problems. And most financial problems are solved with a written financial plan. Now, I'm going to give this number out. I want you to cement this number, write it down, and again, it's extremely important that you make this call. 604-737-3512. 604-737-3512. You can reach Frida right now at that number. If you want to make an appointment to see myself, call that number, 604-737-3512. Remind you once again, there is no cost, there is no obligation of any kind. Give Frida a call, make an appointment, get yourself a financial plan, emphasize it's complimentary, no cost, no obligation at all. Make that call. If you got a portfolio, you want it analyzed, second opinion on your investment portfolio, different than the financial plan, quite different, but it's an analysis of your existing portfolio. It's a checkup on your existing portfolio. It's a second opinion. It's an MRI. It's a CAT scan. It's an X-ray, whatever you want to call it. You go to the doctor for a checkup, get your portfolio checked up. Think of a stethoscope taking the blood pressure of your portfolio, okay? Get it analyzed. No cost, no obligation of any kind. Call Frida. Once again, 604-737-3512. Again, if you've just tuned in, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod. My mission, my raison d'etre, is to help you increase your financial IQ, is to teach clients and prospective clients how to do better with their money, how to keep their money. Okay? We're running out of time, so I guess I have to go. Same time, same station next week, 8 to 9, live, 6:50 a.m., smooth and easy. See you same time, same station next week. Bye for now.
If you'd like Fred to review your portfolio, call his office right now at 604-737-3512. That's 604-737-3512.